The story from Xinhua, China's state news agency, meant to call Xi Jinping China's highest leader, but the change of one character resulted in the Chinese president being called instead China's last leader. The article was quickly corrected after it was published on Sunday afternoon, but the seemingly seditious slip-up was caught and reported by Chinese-language news outlets in Hong Kong. It still exists in at least one online cache of the story. The embarrassing flub follows a high-profile visit by Mr. Xi last month to Communist Party and state media outlets, where he told reporters and editors that they must protect the party's authority and unity. The error on Sunday appeared in a notebook-style article based on observations of events focusing on the economy at the National People's Congress and Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, which are holding their annual sessions in Beijing. It included quotes from economists and officials stressing the importance of maintaining confidence in China's economy despite slowing growth and other worrying indicators. The passage referring to Mr. Xi came near the very end and quoted him on the need to take a long-term view of economic fluctuations. It called him China's Yu, or last, leader when it meant to say Xue Gao, or highest. Reached by phone, an employee at the Xinhua editorial department that handled the story said it was not immediately clear whether anyone would be punished for the mistake. Typos involving high-level Chinese leaders can lead to punishment for the journalists involved. In December, a phrase intended to explain that Mr. Xi gave a speech in Africa was jumbled to suggest that Mr. Xi had resigned. That error resulted in the suspension of 4 editorial staff members at the state-run China News Service, according to the Information Center for Human Rights and Democracy, a human rights group based in Hong Kong. Chinese news outlets have seen their narrow room for aggressive reporting and commentary further constrained under Mr. Xi. Such restrictions came under unusual criticism twice last week. Cakesin, a well-respected business news outlet, documented the censorship of one of its articles. The censored article had quoted a political advisor speaking on the need to allow free expression of suggestions for Chinese leaders on how to improve governance. Cakesin's report on the censorship was itself deleted hours after it was posted online. On Friday, a letter criticizing censorship at Xinhua circulated widely online. It was attributed to a man who said he worked for the state news agency. In a phone interview with the New York Times, he confirmed that he had written the letter but declined to discuss its contents with a foreign news organization. A typo by China's state news agency over the weekend resulted in President Xi Jinping being referred to as China's last leader in a report on the annual session of the rubber-stamp parliament, the National People's Congress, (NPC). Xinhua, a key media propaganda tool for the ruling Communist Party of China, (CPC), made the rare error while describing Xi. Xi, according to many experts, is China's most powerful president in decades. Xinhua was quick to correct the error. According to the Hong Kong-based Chinese newspaper Ming Pao, the news agency hurriedly circulated a correction, changing last to top, as in China's top leader. The two phrases are different by just one character in Chinese but are pronounced differently. The original version was taken down and links for the article that were circulating were quickly found to be defunct. It was not immediately clear whether heads would roll at Xinhua for the error. The News Wire is China's largest state-run news agency and other media houses are almost always directed to carry copies released by Xinhua on important events and sensitive topics. The embarrassing mistake for Xinhua and the CPC comes at a time when the government is trying to tighten its rules on the already, and severely, restricted freedom of press. Last month Xi went on a high-profile tour of state media houses, including Xinhua, where he urged journalists to align themselves completely with the CPC. Last December, 4 journalists in another Chinese news agency were suspended following a similar typographical error, which resulted in a report that said Xi had resigned while giving a speech at the China-Africa Summit in South Africa. The original version of a report filed by the China News Service, an official service that has a status similar to that of Xinhua, referred to Xi saying in his resignatio that China and Africa had a shared destiny in their histories. The Hong Kong-based South China Morning Post, SCMP, had reported that error, according to the report, happened only 2 days after Xinhua misspelled U.S. President Barack Obama's name in its Chinese translation as Ba in a report about him meeting Xi. Xi Jinping is the General Secretary of the Communist Party of China, the President of the People's Republic of China, and the Chairman of the Central Military Commission. As Xi holds the top offices of the party and the military, in addition to being the head of state through the office of President, he is sometimes informally referred to as China's paramount leader. As General Secretary, Xi is also an ex officio member of the Politburo Standing Committee, China's top decision-making body. Son of communist veteran Xi Zongsun, Xi Jinping rose through the ranks politically in China's coastal provinces. He served as the governor of Fujian between 1999 and 2002, then as governor and party secretary of the neighboring Zhejiang between 2002 and 2007. Following the dismissal of Chen Liangyu, Xi transferred to Shanghai as the party secretary for a brief period in 2007. Xi joined the Politburo Standing Committee and Central Secretariat in October 2007, and was Hu Jintao's successor. He served as vice president between 2008 and 2013. Xi has attempted to legitimize the authority of the Communist Party, introducing far-ranging measures to enforce party discipline and to ensure internal unity, as well as initiating an unprecedented and far-reaching campaign against corruption. His anti-corruption campaign has led to high-profile arrests such as General Xu Kaiyu. He has also imposed further restrictions over ideological discourse, advocating the concept of Internet sovereignty. Considered the main figure of the People's Republic's fifth generation of leadership, Xi has significantly centralized institutional power by taking on a wide range of leadership positions himself, chairing the newly formed National Security Commission, as well as new steering committees on economic and social reforms, military reform, and the Internet. Xi has called for further market economic reforms, for governing according to the law and for strengthening legal institutions, with an emphasis on individual and national aspirations under the neologism Chinese Dream. Xi has also championed a more assertive foreign policy, particularly in relation to Sino-Japanese relations, China's claims to the bulk of the South China Sea, involvement in Asian regional affairs, and initiatives related to energy and natural resources.
民进党人要比较及时的同台独做一个切割。那么你不是，你就必须处理你的台独党纲，你就必须认同一个中国，或者说九二共识这一点。
审查好“13五”规划的提供更多一些。
里面讲到了我们坚决反对各种形式的台独分裂行径，维护这个领土和主权的完整，绝不容许国家分裂的历史悲剧重现。这是两岸关系的底线，也是对目前台湾岛内各种台独势力猖狂活动的一种警告。
我有一个建议，就是这个线上召开的首次会。
中华民族伟大复兴的进程，台湾的民众，我们台湾2300万的台湾人民是不会缺席的，也不可能缺席。那么历史的经验和教训证明呢，民族团结，那么我们中华民族就能够复兴，就能够强大。
第五呢，也是希望能够加大对民营
继续发展两岸的合作的关系，继续促进两岸的各个领域的交流合作，其实是给大家 打了一个安心针，也打了保证，就是说我们只要大家携手共同努力，我们能够为自己的民族、为自己的国家，也为自己的同胞创造一个很好的未来的发展前景。
要求人民政府